Hello, my name is Gabe the Babe,
otherwise known as Ellie.
Ellie Presco.
I am Nina Arnone.
Yeah, you are. And welcome to Office Hours.
You caught me at literally the craziest time.
This is the scheduled time.
The second
It's always the scheduled time.
the second that the time arrived, my brioche loaf was done, and I had just gotten the right amount of coffee grounds to make my blueberry cold brew and put it in the fridge overnight.
It sounds like horrible planning on your
Several
part.
things
Your time
happened.
management. None of this should have been happening at this time.
My time management is really bad.
Your hair's wet.
I know. I showered hours ago, though. I don't know why it's still not dry. I have but 3 strands to my name, so I don't know what's going on. Welcome to Office Hours.
This is a lot for you. Welcome to Office Hours.
Things are crazy right now.
No, what's happening to you? I don't even know how to speak. I feel like she also, everyone should know, was talking. She was shuffling in here, rushing to get a candle lit to be on the pod. As you can see, for those who can see, not a candle in sight. Not sure why that was an essential right now.
I just need the space to smell good when I am in pod.
Why would it smell bad?
Because the cats play in here a lot. And they're not even particularly stinky, but it's more just for my own peace of mind. I'm so excited because you updated your Pinterest board of me, which means, guys, Arnone is thinking about me sometimes. Yeah. So nice.
She also yelled at me about this. I haven't used Pinterest in a while. And then I recently went on and used it. And she caught it immediately, which scares me that she's watching me that closely.
Every time I go on Pinterest, I check your profile to see what you've pinned.
How often do you go on?
I would say twice a week. I go on Pinterest.
So twice a week, you're expecting to see that I've updated the Pinterest board for you and are disappointed.
No. Twice a week, I see what you've pinned. And twice a week, I see... It was when it had the 6-month threshold had crossed. And there were no updated pins of me. But there were updated pins of your partner. And to that I say, she lives with him. Why is she thinking about him? Why is she thinking about him when she lives with him? You know?
Horrible.
Like, that's just, to me, silly waste of your senses. When use your sight to see him, don't use mine to think of him. So where am I in this equation? It felt quite rude.
Sight to see, mine to think. Think me no.
And she did think me no until I bullied her into...
What did I pin? I thought it was something funny. There was something nice and something funny.
There were nice things and there were funny things. Yeah, right now, my Pinterest, on my widget is, my tummy hurts, but I am being so brave. And
I've started saying that to people at work.
That your tummy hurts, but you're being brave.
Just when I'm complaining about something, I'll be like, yeah, but I'm being really brave about it.
It's true.
Like that I don't want to do something because the room that I have to go to is always really cold. And I'm going to have extra coffee.
Can't relate.
And I'm like, I'll be really brave about it though, so.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Recently.
You put... This did make me laugh. Low-key getting tan.
It's like genuinely blue with veins.
It's jellyfish skin. It's like patient zero skin. And that is, in fact, me.
Yeah, that one really made me laugh.
Glowing. Oh, that is so funny. And I love how you can't tell if it's a foot or a hand. Even better.
Gotta be a hand. Yeah, that one was really funny. Did
that
I say
one
anything else?
Hilarious. Biggest slut at the public library, which is definitely true.
That's a great... That would be so... It's on a t-shirt. How good of a t-shirt that would be.
Oh my god. I mean, I do have a birthday coming up, so...
It's true.
I'm just saying. What did I say that I wanted from you for my birthday? I told you about it.
I don't know. You want to admit it publicly?
Yeah, well, I just don't know what it was. What was it?
A cake from Costco.
Okay, listen. Costco, still public enemy number 1 in my book, but...
Which is a crazy thing to say to people when they're such a good...
I know. It's become a stubborn hill to die on, but it's just one that I just have to...
And they keep being too good all the time, and she gets mad.
Yeah. We get it. You're philanthropic. Find another hobby to make you interesting. It's boring. It's boring being so good-hearted all the time.
Yeah.
Boring. Where's your
That's the
complexity?
life of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Kick a kid, you know? Like do something with some zest. But I will say, to give Costco a sliver of credit, their baked goods are pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good. Your sister gets like cakes from them for her kids' birthday parties, and yeah, that is a fucking moist cake, I will tell you that much.
Yeah. Ellie
That
sent
is-
this to me, which tells me she was exploring what Costco has to offer. Sent
I
me
wouldn't go
that
that
they
far.
have, it was a cold brew tiramisu cheesecake, something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, she wants that.
It just sounds fucking delicious. Can you imagine having that with like an espresso martini at night, celebrating me being plus 12 years older than we thought I would be? I think that's great.
It's 12 years older. That's good. There's a Costco in the Boston area, so I could probably get that
Yeah, I think
over
so.
there for around your birthday.
Yeah.
Although I don't
Oh,
have a car, so I'll have to be driven there.
But I'm gonna drive you to pick up my birthday cake.
Yes, please.
I mean, yeah, I'm down to do it. That cake looked fucking insane. So
They might do delivery. I can see.
they probably, I think they do actually, the same day delivery. They also, this might have been on the menu for thousands of years, but they have this like turkey and cheese melt
Yes, that's
on
been
like
on there for a while.
ciabatta.
Oh, did you have it recently?
No, I just saw it on
What were you gonna say? That
Instagram.
it was yummy?
Yeah, no, it's really good. It is good.
you had it?
Yes, I've had like a nibble. I think it was in like 2003. So I guess it has been there for a while. Sorry. I'm just so young. It's hard to keep track.
You had it in 2003?
My
I didn't know
memories
they
gave it.
existed then.
You
It must have been
definitely.
more recent than that.
I mean, considering I remember my birth, I think we can, just assume that it was a long time ago.
Yeah, the turkey cheese is very good on their menu.
It was really good. It had no business being that delicious. But, that was a long time ago. That was when I, wore pull-ups. So
True. Didn't have all my teeth, so
didn't
it
have,
took a while to eat.
Yeah. I mean, barely had all my hair. I mean, I guess you could even, make that argument
That was
now.
true
But
yesterday, anyway.
yeah. Yeah. That doesn't narrow down the time frame. Oh, Ellie didn't have a lot of hair. Okay, so right now, when are you talking about?
That's funny.
Be more specific.
Yeah, Costco's a wonderful place, and everyone should shop there.
Yeah. But not me, because I would never do that.
No,
I would never. Part of the reason why I am, thinking hypothetically about shopping in other places is because, and I'm outing myself right now, I'm ashamed, I shop at Amazon a lot. Or did. I know. Horrible demon company.
I've really been trying to push you against that.
Yeah, and it's
you have no need. You live in the
there's
city.
no need to do it. And I have been, my attention span has been melted by our modern age. And also sometimes it's like, oh my God, damn, I really need something by tomorrow and I don't have enough time to, go and do it now because I'm running all over the place. And it just got to the point where I was like, there are other services that offer same day delivery or next day delivery that are not human modern age Voldemort. Go somewhere else and you can just take the time to just figure out where to shop. And it was hard because it also like is an addiction. Like the Amazon, is using evil AI to like find things that you didn't know you wanted, but you want. And it's demonic. It's horrible. I'm disappointed the Pope is not getting involved right now.
He probably will. Boring.
And so it's been a
Also,
challenge.
Do you really need things that immediately?
No,
really?
that's the thing. That's what I
You
mean
were
when
saying,
I say
I'm every like every couple of years, every now and then. I think there isn't a situation where you're like, oh my God, I do need this right away. But if you just plan and just like get up early, You can
Yeah.
just go to the store. I've pulled away. I mean, I never really liked Amazon, but I've also pulled away from that, like, need of things right now. You never need it that quickly.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. The modern day has melted my brain and
Did I
told
already rant
me,
to you about this?
I don't know, probably.
About my realization about my attention span? I had, like, the same thing, and I'm, like,
Oh
working
no,
against
I
it
don't.
now. I thought I
I
ranted to
don't
you
think you
about
did.
this.
I
Well, I
don't
didn't
know.
mean to cut you off. I just thought I had said it, but if I didn't, I'll say it after. Finish your thought. But yeah, you never actually need things that quickly like we thought we did
Yeah.
for a long time. I'm proud of you for getting off of Amazon. There was something I
Yeah.
saw recently. Some smart tech students, whatever, who made an app. It was an app to get all of the things you would need in your local area that, like, you wouldn't have to go to Amazon. Of, like,
That's nice.
it said what store had what product
Yeah.
so that you would, like, go to that, like, they would, like, link you to that website, but it was, like, the same way, like, you search on Amazon, like, toilet paper, and it has all the options, it would do the
Yeah.
same, but it was all, like, places in your area. I can't remember the
Yeah.
name of it. I don't know if it's finished yet. I just remember seeing something about that recently, so I'll have to send that to you.
That's really exciting. Yeah, I mean, my
Yeah.
other thing too that Amazon does for me that many other things do, but that's another reason why I was like just so it was so instinctive to just go to Amazon is I buy things in bulk, like cleaning supplies, cat litter, like I just would rather like buy in bulk.
Yeah.
And then keep it in my storage unit because I live in an apartment, so I don't have a basement. And then my partner and I have like a notes app of like all the stuff that's in our storage unit. So before we go buy something, we check and see if it's in the storage unit because otherwise we'd forget. Yeah, so I'm trying. It's I think there's a withdrawal period for sure because it was
Really?
awfully convenient and very cheap. And when I needed things quickly, it was an easy service to rely on. But
Yeah.
I can find those things elsewhere. And yeah, I'm a little embarrassed to admit that it's been hard to leave Amazon, but
I mean, it's
um
real.
yeah, I mean, that's what they want, right? They want it to
Mhm.
be as difficult as possible to convince you that you need that service. And so I am just withstanding. And it's also inspired me to do other things slower too, because I have so many subscriptions. So, like, I stopped my Cometeer subscription. Remember that coffee
Yeah,
stuff that I got
yeah,
delivered
yeah.
for years? So, that I actually do really like, and I would recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
But it's really expensive, obviously,
Mhm.
because it's slower made, and also, like, they're working with local coffee shops, and they wanna make sure that those coffee shops get, like, fairly paid and all this stuff, so it's definitely worth the price. I
Yeah,
just
totally.
can't really pay for that expensive coffee, and it's also, like,
Not
it's, like,
all
a
the
box
time.
of 8 pods,
Yeah.
and that's 8 cups of coffee per box. So it's
Mhm.
like, it's just a little. So I started buying whole bean coffee and I got a Chemex. And so I'm going to do pour overs again. And I'm so excited. So that's what I was doing is I was making cold brew because I was like grinding my beans. I haven't ground beans ever in my life. My grandparents grind their beans, but I don't.
Oh,
Well, I do now. I know
fun.
it's been really fun. It's been like a
This is so
ritual.
exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like explained this whole thing to my partner about like I've just been really feeling like, I still want the coffee to be like well made and a ritual. And he was like, "Why are you talking to me?" No, he was like, "You don't have to justify it like
He
this
was like, "Ew."
intensely." But yeah. Anyway, that's my spiel about leaving Amazon and being really excited about my coffee grinder.
I'm so excited for you. I have
I
been on
know.
this journey, what you seem to be getting on now, since, like, the beginning of the year. I've always been pretty anti-Amazon, you know that.
Yeah.
But I have been on, I think it was like in the beginning of the new year. I can't remember exactly when, but sometime in January, I was looking at an old book I read like in school or when I had just finished undergrad, and I had all these notes in the side and all of my thoughts with it and different things like that. And like I was just really engaged in it and really critically like thinking about this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I could do this right now. Like if I read another one, like I don't know if I'd be able to engage with it at this level.
Mm.
And that kind of bummed me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you wouldn't have the time for it, you mean? Like to really
no, I don't think my brain would do it.
Oh.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if I'd make the time. I don't know if I would. So then it became another thing of like sitting with my thoughts for longer. Because in school, I didn't have TikTok.
Yeah.
I never downloaded it until after I graduated because it was like just getting popular and I knew I was going to be into it. So I just didn't get it yet. And then someone was
That's
talking.
not true, by the
In
way.
undergrad? I didn't get TikTok.
You convinced me to download TikTok, and I did in February of 2021. You were the one convincing me
did
to
not have
download TikTok. Yes,
Did
you did. Yes, remember we were
I did because
sitting?
I used it for my classics program. Oh, that
Yeah.
reminds me. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Your narrative is
fib.
still valid, but I
That was a
can't let you
fib.
get away with that point because you were you were the leader of the TikTok movement in my life.
That was a full fib. Sorry to everyone. I did use it for my program. Okay, but I
Yes.
wasn't into it the same. I was more focused on school.
No. I think it
Yes, I did get it.
became more involved after we didn't go to college anymore, for sure.
But okay, yes, full lie. Wasn't into it as much.
It was just an incorrect memory. She was not lying.
Those are the same thing. But an incorrect memory. What I just did there, I just learned what the word is for that.
What?
Confabulation.
What does that mean?
To lie honestly.
Oh.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, what is it again?
Confabulation. Or to confabulate.
Confabulate.
To lie honestly.
I
I
love
was like,
it.
man, there's so much of that in the world. But anyway.
Yeah. She was feeling confabulous. Let's just put it there. That's the title of our episode.
Yeah, so I confabulated.
Yeah. Fascinating.
And now you know that word as well. I just learned that and I was like,
I'm putting that in my roster because I'm surrounded by confabulators. My cat's included.
and you should be like, don't try to confabulate here. And they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
what?
I know. I'm going to say that to my boy cat the next time he's begging for food because he's like, I have not eaten in
Ever.
days. Ever in my life. I'm starving. And I'm like, that's, I understand that you may feel that way, but I can see you dragging your primordial pouch across the floor. So you have, in fact, eaten only an hour prior
You're
to
feeling
this argument.
full, it looks like.
Yeah. You threw up in the corner because you ate too much too quickly and then sprinted around to chase your sister. So anyway, fascinating. Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Okay,
yeah,
continue.
confabulate. So wasn't on it as much. I was better engaged with literature, I think I thought better. Clearly not doing so much thoughting now.
Well, she is thoughting. She's just not thinking.
But and then someone asked me a question about Greek, which for those who don't know, I studied in college and have a degree in, and I mixed up something I should not have. And I'm basically, and then I was thinking about it later and I was like, I think I'm losing my languages, which is very sad because I don't use them, which I guess that happens in life with languages. You're not going to know them as well as you did in school when you're studying them, but like I don't engage with them at all anymore, really. So the more I thought about it, I was getting really upset because I was someone who wanted to have a life in academia. And so my brain and being able to think is really important to me. And I guess you just like lose track of time. I do love my job now. I'm not like upset that I'm not in academia, but it was just to say that like that's always been really important to me, is to be able to think very well. And I guess lose track of time. Like I started my career and the job I have now, which I do love. You visit friends, you do different things with your time, and I'm on social media way more. And I was on this stuff way more. I'm not spending my days thinking in a class and like being forced to analyze. And I guess it's like really slow and then all of a sudden you realize you realize it, and I guess I did, and so I've been calling it reclaiming my brain.
Love.
So I have limits on my social media. I'm not getting rid of them. I have limits on Instagram and TikTok. I don't really have a hard time not going on the others. I only have Facebook for Marketplace, so that's
Yeah.
fine. And so I only have 30 minutes a day on each of those.
Nice.
And I downloaded Substack because, and I did tell you about that one because it's more thought-provoking stuff in there.
Yeah, it's like
And
op-eds
so,
and editorials and
yeah. And so when I do want to like scroll, like at lunch, even if I'm like at lunch at work and I want to be just like scrolling on my phone, I can scroll on that and read something rather than like just watch people like tend to their lawn or something.
I know.
Whatever I did on TikTok.
Love Substack because it's so clearly just filled to the brim with English majors, and so even like the funny memes, they're just like, oh, the demons have persisted this week, and I just feel very among my people, and I love
Yeah,
it.
that's right. You got it since the last time we talked.
I did. I
Yeah.
actually have made it for a while for when I was like trying to expand my YouTube channel and stuff, and so I made it, and then I putzed around with it, and I was like, I'm not a journalist. Why am I lying? And so I never visited it again for years, and then realized that like I watch. So one of my is it guilty pleasure? A little bit, but I don't really feel that bad about it. On YouTube, I watch these like basically like 1 hour documentaries about like different celebrities, but a lot of it is like tied into like the greater culture and how like one of the amazing ones that I watched was about 8 Passenger and like how not giving children rights when it comes to them being filmed on camera and then being monetized for their faces and then potentially being sexualized because they are so public, how that can affect like the upbringing of children and also like tie into effect like when should children have a right to their finances, should there be laws in place. Anyway, it's that's I watch those kind of things all the time more than I watch like actual TV. And a lot of those people who make those documentaries are on Substack and are like writing like shorter form articles about what they found when they were researching the video they made.
Okay.
So it was like, oh my God, yeah, I want to follow all this. This is amazing.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
got
that's
back into
fun.
it. I was thinking about getting back into it, and then you had mentioned that like that's a better way to like find more critical thinkers, especially with like news, because the news media is just a fucking disaster. So it's like, how am I to process the truth or the lies and be able to identify that myself? And you were like, those people are on Substack. So that's ultimately why I re-downloaded it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really fun finding new things. Even like one night I went on and I read like I wouldn't call it an article, but it was like a thought piece of someone talking about how to like properly waste the day. And it
I
was
love
just
it.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
and I read it and I was like, I don't know how long it's been since I just read something that like it had no, I mean, it's not bad when this happens, but not every piece of writing has to be like this of like a bigger, commentary on society and deeper analysis. Like the guy was like talking about like, if your coffee is made by any automated machine, you've already done it wrong. Like it was just so funny. It was
Oh my God, that's
dumb.
what I was just saying today.
Yeah. That's literally all my Substack is like getting
Yeah.
away from automation.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
there's those things of like less social media, being more intentional about when I'm on it. The other thing I did to be on my phone less is I grayscaled it.
Oh, you finally did that.
So I
Yeah.
dulled it. It's
Yeah.
not like black and white. It's not fully grayscale, but I did it. You can set it. There's like a range you can set, and I only have it on like a fourth of the way. And so it's just not nearly as bright.
Yeah. You don't
I'm
wanna, like,
not
give yourself clinical depression, but you wanna be
Yeah.
more, like,
I wanna be able to,
stingy
like,
with
see
time.
the colors people wear, but,
Yeah.
like, it doesn't hit the dopamine receptors the
Yeah.
same, and
Yeah.
one of my coworkers taught me about it and, like, showed me how to do all of it,
Yeah.
and then
Arnoti's out here making herself have dog vision on her phone.
Yes. And then she was saying, she was like, when you do this, you'll notice that like colors in the world seem brighter, which is so
That's
crazy to think
nice.
about. But I did it, and then I did it like probably a month ago. And then just this past weekend, I went back to Pittsburgh for Easter. And like the grass there is brighter than the grass here in South Carolina because it's not burnt, obviously. But like,
For sure.
but like I was there and I was like, this is so green. I was like,
Yeah.
my God, this is beautiful. And I was like, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Like, this is so
Oh my God, you
green.
must have been insufferable. Literally just touching grass in the backyard. Meadow.
I was talking to my dad and Kyle, and I was like, we were sitting on the front porch, and I was like, you guys keep talking. If I don't put my feet in this grass right now, I'm going to freak out. And I just like started walking around the grass when I was talking to them. So there's that part of like, I'm just less inclined to be on the phone now. Now, some days I don't even hit the limit on social media. Sometimes I don't even touch it at all.
Yeah.
Because I just don't go on it. And then I did the same thing you did with coffee. So I brought my Keurig to work to have there.
I remember you saying that. Listeners will remember you mentioning that.
Yes. So that I can have a mug at work. Because just the idea of like having to rush and make my coffee at home and then like having it out of a thermos all day at work, it just felt, it gave this very like busy feeling to my
Something
morning.
about that is sad,
But
and I can't quite
also the whole-
identify what it
I
is.
know. Like the
Yeah.
fact, and then like as soon as I switched over, it's the same coffee. Nothing has changed about the coffee. But now I sip it out of a mug, and there's a different intentionality about it than the thermos, and it's so much better.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So then at home, I have a grinder, a coffee grinder. I have a mocha pot. That's how I make my coffee at home.
What is that?
I'll show you a picture. It's how Italians make it's an Italian thing to make espresso.
Oh, is it like a metal thingy and you put it on the stove? And okay,
Yeah.
yes, I know people who have this and they really like it. Let's see her. Yes. I'm familiar with her work.
I can't get the lighting any better than
I
that.
saw the outline, but it's because it's on fucking grayscale. I'm totally kidding.
Probably.
Yeah. I know her.
So that's how, without having like a very fancy espresso machine. So you just put the water in the base of it. There's a little carafe type thing that you put the espresso in, and you don't even have to like tamp it down. You're not supposed to tamp it down. So you don't even need like the tool to do that. You just pour it in, smooth it over, and then put the top on and put it on the stove. And it takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the espresso like pours over on the inside of it. That was another thing that the article, or the
and that,
little
like,
thought piece.
filters it, so you're not getting
Yes. So it pushes through the bottom from the heat from the stove. The water pushes through the coffee grounds in the middle, and then there's a filter that the top piece that has the spout. It has a filter, and then only the liquid goes up through the center.
That's fun. I love that.
They're really fun.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing. The guy was like, if the coffee takes less than 10 minutes or 15 minutes to make, you've done it wrong.
I know, my cold brew literally took me like 20 minutes because I got a mini coffee grinder because we don't have that much counter space, and my partner is already trying to hide his frustration with me about how many kitchen gadgets we have. So because when I was telling him about this coffee like not phase I'm going through, but my coffee lifestyle switch and how I prepare it, he was like, amazing. Does that mean that we're getting rid of the Nespresso? And I go, absolutely not. I love the Nespresso. Why would we get rid of it though? We don't have space like that, which is fine. But it is why I got like the mini, like the Chemex. I knew we could like put in like one of the cabinets, and then also like because it doesn't need to be near an outlet, baby, because it's all manual. Same with like the cold brew maker. Like it's basically this giant mason jar with like a handle and a lid, and you put the grounds in there. So, but anyway, because I was looking at machines, and they had like Ninja has this machine that's like a dual like pot of coffee and then like a cold brew maker. And I was thinking about that because I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting. And then I just had the epiphany of like, when it goes through a machine, it is never as good, ever. And especially like Keurigs and stuff like that, like it just tastes so like thick and plasticky. And then even if you get like the reusable K-cups, I personally believe they make the worst coffee because you still get the sediment and it gets stuck in the mesh, and no matter how much you scrub, you can't get it. So it just to me tastes like you're just brewing old coffee again and again, and it's so like stale. And
You're gonna convince me to get rid of the Keurig because I've been leaning towards it, but I don't know what to use at work. But this
I
is
didn't
like
even
convincing
realize.
me.
I forgot you were
This is
bringing it to work.
convincing.
I'm sounding a little elitist right now, but I just don't
No.
think it makes that good a cup of coffee.
My ideal, I would like, you're right, it doesn't make that good a cup of coffee. What I would like to do is get a pot of coffee at work and everyone uses it. I just don't know if enough people drink it every day for me to rationalize making a pot of coffee every day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like, that's how it used to be. Like, why does everyone have to have their own coffee
Yeah. What if it was
maker?
like a pour over type of situation? So you wouldn't even need a machine. You just would need like the filters and then like a tea kettle, and then you just pour it over, and then it makes like a small pot. So it could be like coffee for
And
you
I have
throughout the
all of those
day.
things to be able to do that.
Yeah, like you could just do that. And then it's like not this huge machine like taking up all this space. And then also you can be like, hey, friend, coworker, do you want a little? Like, I have some left in this pot. Do you want a little bit? And then you continue to maintain your crown as office favorite.
I like this idea.
It's fun.
That's another part of what we're doing with like less automation of these things is when you build the ritual of these things, I feel like you build connection with people as well.
You do. And I say this as someone who hates doing that.
Because I use the Keurig because it's what we use and that's normal and not really gonna, like, it works. It's coffee.
Yeah. It gets the job done for sure.
Yeah. But I've been wanting to get away from it because I use the reusable and you shouldn't heat plastic. And I heat plastic every morning with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't use the K-cups. Every time my coworkers use the K-cups, I'm like, guys.
But arguably that tastes better to me than the reusable. I'm gonna be honest.
Really?
Yeah. Because like I said, it's all gets like scrubbed and like totally infused in the mesh. And I feel like no matter how much you scrub, you can't get that fucker that clean. You just can't.
Maybe I should just get like a French press. I don't know why I'm
you can do
overcomplicating this with a pour over. Just get a
You can
French
also
press.
do that. I never think of French presses.
I know. But I'm thinking of it now because when you were thinking about that, I was thinking about at my parents' house what to use instead of my dad's Keurig. Although his K-cup thing is metal, so that's nice.
I think that's
But he has
new.
a French press too, so. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I could just use that. Yeah, I've been doing all of this as well that you're doing. And also I think that the other part about moving to make my coffee more slowly and more intentionally, the other part of it is that like coffee isn't a need, it's a want.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be a fun thing I get to make.
Yeah.
You know, like, and there are mornings where there are days I don't have coffee until like noon because I'm doing stuff in the morning and I'm up and I'm out and I don't get back.
Yeah.
And I don't get back until there and then I have the, 20 minutes to make the coffee and sit and enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been really nice doing all of this stuff, just being more like intentional with consumption. And I'm reading way more since I had this like revelation. I'm like,
yeah, I'm back on my reading grind.
Yeah, there's something about that revelation. And then the more I read different things and articles on Substack, and it's about like, our political landscape and how bad things are and things like that.
Yeah.
It made me think. So in undergrad, my one professor, remember my Latin professor would make us memorize lines in Latin and Greek. You remember all that, me having to do that? And I finally asked her one day, I was like, why are we doing this? Why do I have to memorize these things? Because in the beginning you just do it because that's what your professor says. But I finally, like, asked her, like, sat with her. I was like, what is the point of this?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could even memorize something in a language you don't know. You're just
Yeah.
memorizing words. And she said, once you have it memorized and it's in your head, no one can take it from you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like, I mean, I guess.
Right.
Because I was a student and I was like, I don't want to memorize this.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about it this morning because I was reading. So before I start work most mornings, I read a little bit because it's like a slower way to start the day. And I don't like the idea of starting every morning with like 1,000 emails and everyone wanting something from me.
Yeah.
So I
Sure.
get in and I get my coffee and I read a little bit, but I don't read fiction because if I brought a fiction book into work, I would literally not do work.
It's dangerous.
So I
Let me tell
can't.
you.
I told one of
Yeah.
my coworkers, they were like, "Why do you only read nonfiction at work?" I was like, "I'd be fired if I brought fiction in because I'd get distracted, and then 2 hours later, they're like, Nina, you missed 3 meetings." Oops.
There's the closest I have ever come to heroin is like a fiction book that I cannot put down.
Yeah. So I can't do that. So I read nonfiction, and I'm currently reading a book about the history of abortion care. Is the nonfiction book I'm reading?
Preach, queen.
What?
I love talking about abortion.
I thought you said creamed queen.
Hell no.
What'd you say?
I said preach, queen.
Oh.
Creamed queen. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's
No, in
in
abortion
some ways
at least.
technically what happens,
Yeah.
but you know.
So reading this book on the history of abortion care,
Mhm.
and the big line in it, something someone said after Dobbs was passed, someone who had been a part of the history of abortion care in this book focuses on a sphere in LA because that's what the woman knows. And the movements there, the author is focusing there, and she quotes someone, and I'm forgetting the name of them now, but I can get that to you if someone wants it. But she
Sure.
said, we did it before and we can do it again.
Mm,
Which I like reading these kinds of things because it gives me hope.
yeah.
You know, like they've
Yeah.
had worse times. But
Mhm.
I also it talked about I just read I'm still on the beginning of it, but it was talking about like the way that gynecologists and medical personnel would talk to lay people and teach them what they needed to know to help other people out, and then they passed that knowledge and they passed that knowledge, and that's how that's how they kept women alive.
Yeah.
That's how they
Yeah.
kept people who were pregnant alive. My apologies.
Mhm.
But
Sorry.
there was something about when I was reading that made me think of what my professor said of once you have it, no one can take it from you. And it's
Mhm.
made me want to like consume as much information as I can, but on that same note, to comprehend it and be able to critically
Yeah.
think through it, because sometimes I don't want to read something and just because someone told it to me I'm like, oh yep, like I want to
Yeah.
be able to like actually analyze it, and
Right.
then find these that's something I used to be, not used to be, I am still good at this, but I was known for it in school of being able to pull multiple pieces and pull them together and see the connection. I won an
Yeah.
award for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was something about that clicked this morning when I was reading of like,
Mhm.
oh, that's what she meant there. That's why it mattered. And she's been, a feminist for my old professor, a feminist for a
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
time. And she
Yeah.
didn't talk about it like that in that moment.
Right.
Wasn't the time. We were
Yeah.
talking about the Odyssey.
For sure.
But as one does. But she said it and it just now clicked for me. I guess how serious that line is. Because at the time I was like, whatever, but I don't want to memorize it and I'm tired.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, they could take it from you. They can take the books, they can take everything, they can take all this stuff. Obviously, I've known that before, but it's real now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so there's something about being able to have knowledge in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep ranting, sorry.
No, I love it.
I also read another article on Substack about how we are getting dumber as a species.
Absolutely.
The IQ is going down.
Yeah,
like
no doubt in my
actually,
mind. Yeah, no doubt in my mind. Yeah.
historically, for all of human time, it went up like slowly, steadily, just, normal. And then the Industrial Revolution, it was like one or two IQ points a generation or something like that, just slowly, steadily. Industrial Revolution happens and it starts going up like 4 points a generation. Like it starts going up a lot faster. We're learning way more people are educated, the whole society is progressing that direction.
Yeah.
And then sometime in the 1980s, with the creation of the computer and all of this kind of technology, IQ started going down. And the IQ, like the actual IQ has been going down since the 1980s.
Yeah.
And the conversation around it was that it was the computer, and the influx of AI is about to make that way worse.
Totally.
Because there's many theories about why it's going down. Logical people, or people who have higher IQs and use more logical reasoning, don't have kids as often because they understand that it is, all these different factors in it. And so they don't have as many kids as early as often, all those things. And people with lower IQs don't take those factors into consideration oftentimes, not always. And they have more kids. And so there are more people with that genetic makeup. That is the premise of the movie Idiocracy from 2011. And that could be it. But the major theory, the prevailing theory, is that we are offloading the need to think.
Yeah.
And that's why the IQ is going down, because we can just Google it. We don't ponder. You ever do this, because it's so rare to do this, but like you have a thought and you think about it a little bit and you're like, oh, whatever. And then a few days later, like you've processed it more and you come to a different conclusion.
Yes, it's how I
We don't
deal
do that.
with anger. It's how I let myself be angry now about different things.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But we don't really do it as much anymore.
Yeah.
And so they're saying it's going to get worse with AI. And so then I was like,
Oh my God, yeah.
And then that was a thing of like, I offload the need to think. How often am I sitting and thinking through a thought, or like reading a text and actually analyzing it as I read it?
Yeah.
That's been the crazy cycle I've been in. It's wild.
Seriously. Yeah, I've been actually weirdly thinking about this a lot too, because I kind of had this epiphany when this is going to sound like I'm flexing. I promise I'm not. But I was a French minor in college and I loved it. And one of my goals was I would love to be fluent in the language one day. And then I had a very similar experience to you where like life happens. I wasn't using my French. Obviously, I don't live in a predominantly French speaking area, so I just never used it. And then for my dad's birthday in February, we went to France as a family, and we were in like different areas of France. We went to like Algiers, we went to Chamonix, like it was not like Paris. So there were
less
mostly
English speakers.
less English speakers. And I remember like having this like very weird instance where someone came up to me because they thought that I worked at the store, and because my mom and I were shopping around, and so they asked me about a size, and I in full French was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't work here. You might have to go over to the register." And then I was like, did I just speak French for the first time in like years? And then it kind of just kept happening where like I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can like flex my muscles a little bit. And obviously these people knew that I was not a native French speaker. I'm an American, I have an accent, but they would converse with me in French, and 9 times out of 10, the conversation was really smooth. And I was with my partner, and sometimes he would have questions about things. So as I was able to like talk with the shopkeepers when we were at the spice shop, and so I had this realization of like, oh my God, I haven't fully lost it all. Like I still have it in here. It just needs to be flexed. So I was like, okay, my inclination every time I wake up is to grab my phone. How about instead of doing like mindless Instagram, we get back into language learning apps. So I have
just got back into Babbel too.
Yes, and it's been really nice because I remembered way more than I realized. And because then it got to a point where sometimes I would think about it and be like, okay, it's not realistic for me to be fluent in French. Like, that's never going to happen. And so now I'm looking at it a little differently where it's like, okay, like maybe I'm not fluent in French,
Sure.
but I can definitely be functional in it. And especially if I keep working at it. And then I was like, I kind of want to do it with other languages too. Like, my parents, have a family friend who was born and raised in Capri and speaks Italian, and that's his first language. And we hang out with him all the time and go to Italy with him sometimes on like family trips. And so I was like, I think it'd be nice to be functional in Italian. And so anyway, it just like sparked this like newfound motivation to learn learn multiple languages and potentially
Yeah.
be someone down the line who can at least comfortably speak more than one language.
And it's also, like, just something else to do.
Something else to do, and also, like, I mean, all the benefits of learning a language. It helps with critical thinking. Yeah, it's really good for your brain. It's really good for memory. It's really good for opening new perspectives. I started learning Korean and I do want to die, but it's also been really helpful because it's like, oh, I have to like learn a new alphabet
Yeah.
fully, you
Yeah.
know?
I want to learn
'Cause, you know, with
Arabic just to be able to read the poetry.
yeah. So I'm insufferable, and I also started I started learning Korean because now listen to a lot of K-pop and I want to be able to pick out some words. And then I also picked up Japanese because I want to be able to understand some of the anime that I'm watching. Like it's all
When do you have
very
time to do all
surface
of
level.
these?
Well, I just do like 5 minutes a day with each one.
Oh,
So
okay.
like total for like 20 minutes of my morning. It's really
Yeah.
not that deep. But then,
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
getting into the habit of, like, okay, I'm gonna learn a new language. Admittedly, every time I get to Korean, I'm like, "Fuck," because it's so hard.
I
It's
would
so
have.
hard. All the symbols look the same to my stupid English-speaking brain.
It's just
Like,
new.
it's
Okay.
challenging. I'm
But
hoping.
I also like because before when we were learning this stuff, it was like for an assignment and you had to do it and you had to know it. And you had to know it like perfectly for whatever the test was. And
Yeah.
now like you're just doing it for fun. You're just doing it because you want like
Mhm.
the expectations are lower, so it's fun. It's not a task, you know?
Yeah, and so I think when I kind of surprised myself with it's also too, I really had to step up to the plate because when we were at restaurants, my aunt is vegan, my father is vegan, my partner is gluten-free and dairy-free but eats meat. So these poor wait staff, I was like,
It's the worst family I've ever had.
it's horrible. I hate my horrible family. 0 out of 10, my family.
As she's
So
talking
I,
about her trips to France.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck them, you know? Like, just God, eat cheese and be quiet. Um, but so I literally, was like, okay, everybody shut up because it got to the point where like they were just repeating in English to the waiter because they didn't know how to speak French, so they were kind of
Oh,
floundering. So, and I was getting a little mortified, but I was like, it's nobody's fault. Like everybody's
yeah.
just so I was like, okay, everybody shut up and I'm just gonna go through what everyone needs. And so I think that's what I realized is I'm like, oh my God, I can do this. I'm actually
Yeah.
like better at this than I thought. Like it can be possible. So I'm just gonna just like really hone in the skills. So then maybe like the next time I, go to France, I will be even better.
That's so
And then maybe one day I'll go to Paris and not have them immediately just be like, yes.
Ugh,
Because we did go to Paris for one night and it was literally like flip of a coin.
I wouldn't
No
even
one
try.
spoke French with me. No one was happy I knew French. They just were like, what do you want from the bar? I was like, okay.
I'd give up on
I'm
life.
just trying to be, open minded. You don't have to bend to the stupid English speaking world, but they weren't having that. So,
I mean,
anyway,
that's really exciting, though. That's really cool.
it just really motivated me and also too thinking critically, having multiple perspectives, acknowledging that like multiple things can be true at once. There's no black and white because, especially in this day and age, we're at a very interesting time where like critical thinking and IQ is like getting lower and lower and lower. And at the same time, at least within our country, I know the critical thinking is a global issue, but like as an American, our, country's government is becoming more and more oppressive and more manipulative. And so I feel like this is like now more than ever is a time to like really be trying to read like multiple things and even if you don't quite understand them, like I feel like there's so much shame in voicing what you don't know. And there's like this like weird arrogance and hubris in like not admitting that you don't know about something.
Which why would something you've never been involved in? Like
yeah, so it's just like, and I mean, there's many different theories, but then that just fuels the theory of like, okay, well, I don't know it, so it's clearly not important, and I know what's best, and it's just like this big fucking mess. And I got very into, it's gonna sound very weird. I got very into abortion a couple years ago, when Roe v. Wade got overturned. I was just like, I didn't necessarily know a lot about like a procedural abortion or even medicated abortion, but I knew that this was something that I felt like all people who can get pregnant should have access to. But then when Roe v. Wade got overturned, I remember being like, okay, well, like what actually happens in an abortion? Like what is the actual procedure? Like what does it look like that people are like so stressed out about? And then I read about it, and I read about like women and people who can get pregnant experiences in like abortion clinics, and it made me even more pro-choice, like made me even feel even more strongly that this should be something. And it's truly, honestly, I one of the many things where I think like people who are pro forced birth, I'm like, I bet you they have never read or never asked what actually happens in an abortion clinic. I bet you they don't even know like what it looks like, what the different like stages of like counseling, of checking your vitals, of taking a pregnancy test. Like there's no doubt in my mind they have no idea what goes down, because I, as someone who believed it should be a fundamental right, I didn't know. So it just like it's just like drilled into me even more, like, okay, let's have a little empathy. Let's like acknowledge what we don't know and not make people feel stupid for not knowing. I think like and the shaming shouldn't ever really be valid, but I think where I become a little more closed-minded and abrasive is when people are unwilling to learn. And people, not only are you not willing to acknowledge that you don't know something, you're unwilling to learn anything about it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can really talk to you without screaming. It's like, so that's kind of what made me realize. And because right now I'm reading a book about, of course, now I forget their names, but it's about the LDS and Mormonism and polygamy. Okay. Yeah. And it happened in the 1984, I believe. A very reflective year, I think, across fiction and nonfiction alike. 24-year-old woman and her 18-month daughter were stabbed to death, and it ended up being the husband's older brother who did it. And his argument was that it was God's will. God told him to murder them, and the state of Utah gave him a much lesser sentence because it was religious expression.
Whoa.
And when it's the word of God, it's not a crime. And so I personally, and I'm willing to acknowledge this, I have a very narrow-minded view on Mormonism. I think the LDS movement is a cult that is just made to oppress women. The amount of 13-year-olds who have been impregnated by 60-year-old men in this organization is overwhelming. But I'm also learning, in this book, it's also exploring why women stay, why women who reach a certain age, because they're like, many feminists will be quick to write it off as Stockholm syndrome. And then I went, Oh. I might be at fault for that. And I was like, "Oh, that's so interesting. I am actually a part of the problem." Um, never would have thought. And so now there's this whole chapter that I haven't finished because then I had to go to the grocery store because I'm not shopping at Amazon anymore. And it basically like getting the perspectives of these sister wives who not only don't want to leave their community, love their community,
Wow.
like find empowerment in being a sister wife, which to me sounds insane, but also makes me want to be like, I don't want to write them off as these like Stockholm syndrome, crazy women because that's anti-feminist in itself. So
Real.
anyway, it just shows how much gray there is, and I feel like we should be more embracive of the many muddled gray areas because that is what helps us think critically because it challenges our minds.
Yeah.
It makes us, think about things outside of our bubble because I live in a very small bubble. And so I need to expand it any way I can because my friends don't live here. It's just me and my cats and also my partner.
Yeah.
So, I need to expand the net.
Yeah.
Widen the net.
I mean, reading also develops empathy. Like, there is nothing that is better to develop empathy than reading, which also tells you why, like, the manosphere exists because they
Yeah.
literally can't read anything except a book about leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's boring because you learn from fiction.
It's so boring. Nonfiction leadership, I think we should end. Like, ban those books.
I had to read some for work, but I got to, I was like, thank God. And I read Brene Brown's Dare to Lead book. Phenomenal.
Oh, well, that's different. I think leadership books written by women are
Yeah. But her whole
exquisite.
thing was like literally about being empathetic and like taking people where they're at
Yeah.
and like, being aware of cultural differences and how the system works against people. And I was like, you're right.
You're right. You're right.
But yeah, it sounds like we're in the same
Yeah, that's really funny actually that we're
brain,
both
the same thing happening.
experiencing.
Kyle's on it as well. I definitely started it because I like had a night where I was freaking out. I was like, Kyle, I'm losing my languages. I'm losing my languages.
My brain's melting. It's just filled with cat memes.
So he's getting off. He's more restrictive. He only lets himself go on social media on the weekends and on Wednesday. So none.
Why on Wednesday?
Middle of the week, check if people have stories. He was like, I want to see my friends' stories if they have stuff.
That's fair.
I was like, sure. But yeah, just like a bunch of it's a big popular movement going on now, but I guess everyone comes at it at their own time of like just having what's the word I'm looking for? What have they been calling it? Just a not on social media life.
Like it.
Writing letters to your friends, having an actual camera.
Yeah. No, I like it. It's hard too though because also because I also watched a YouTube documentary about this. It's a very fine line of like because the slower life also does promote consumerism in its own right because it's a lot of stuff that like you probably don't have. They like can't because you're like my phone has a camera and like like I've never gotten a like proofing bowl before. I guess I need to buy it. It's so interesting like how it can all like to achieve it's also why like down to like Nara Smith and the Tradwides who like do everything from scratch and then they're like you want to make from scratch too and be like a slow liver. Here's my Amazon storefront of like all the stuff that I have. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, you go so left, you go right.
It's
You go
wild.
so right, you go left. That's the way it always.
It's wild. But yeah, because my partner is off the grid.
Yeah.
Like he's been off the grid for a while, hates social media, it freaks him out. So no Instagram, never had a TikTok, no nothing. So I obviously being young and supple have all of that shit. And it was early in our relationship. I think so it was probably at least 2 years ago at this point. I noticed that in the mornings I would be scrolling through Instagram, we were eating breakfast, and he would just kind of be like looking around. And started to become mortified because he never said anything, because I think he was just like, yeah, she just wants to do her thing and like scroll and like, who am I to like tell her no? But I kind of had the realization of like, oh my God, like we're not even speaking. And it's because I'm on my stupid little phone
Yeah.
looking at these dumb little videos. So I stopped doing that. I still bring my phone to the table if I'm still working on my language apps, but again, it doesn't take very, it's like 20 minutes.
Oh.
And then like we either like mutually decide together, like, okay, we're gonna like, talk and have a discussion. Or sometimes he'll be like, I'm watching this like crazy match on YouTube right now. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm deep in a documentary. We can like circle back
Yeah,
after.
balance.
So it's like, it's not always like we're sitting and we're talking about our feelings. Like sometimes it's like we're both watching videos and we don't want to speak, but there's at least like more synchronicity there than there was when I was like on Instagram and he was just like very politely sitting waiting for me to be done. so it's better.
Well, that's good then. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's so crazy that we have to think about this stuff.
I know.
People who are like not like it, who aren't having these thoughts, and they're just totally sucked in. I'm like,
I know, they're leading our country. Isn't that crazy?
this is horrible.
Yeah. The non-critical thinkers and the people who are addicted to social media are the White House administration.
Ruling the world.
Yeah. It's crazy. AI memes by the official White House Instagram account. It's buck wild. What's going
Those are
on?
bomb.
Anyway, this was a very, I feel like, existential episode, but I'm kind of okay with it.
I've been in a moment.
Yeah, feeling it. Feeling things.
As soon as
Feeling
you
vibes.
started, I was like, have I ranted to you about this yet? You're like, no.
No.
Buckle up.
But it's kind of creepy because I've been going through the exact same thing and we haven't talked about it at all with
You have
each
to
other.
call Kylie. She's been doing the same.
Yeah. And if she's not, if we talk about it, she'll spiral into it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning into Office Hours.
Thanks for listening to our philosophies.
I know, seriously. Yeah, we, I guess we missed being in a college class, so we briefly led one just now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us the things you're
Anywho.
not doing anymore.
Yeah. And don't post your Amazon storefront because we're not buying from it anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Tune in next time.
Bye.
Bye.